This critical EDH video is brought to you by Doot Loot, your one-stop shop for Japanese and Russian foils. If you spend $100 or more, you'll earn free entry into the largest online cEDH league this month. So don't miss out and upgrade your deck's bling today.
Hey everybody, I'm here with a special guest, Matthew, aka Deck Driver MTG, and we're here to talk about some cEDH deck building.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I've been following your content for a very short period of time, and I know one person in our group, Jordan, has been a big fan of yours for a while, especially because he just recently came from casual to cEDH, and he caught me like watching one of your videos, and he's like, "Oh, is that Deck Driver?" Like I watched all of his content, and I was like, I have no idea who this person is, but like, yeah, I've been trying to keep my ear to the ground about cEDH and what other people are talking about, what other people are listening to. And you were talking about cEDH and how you're building your certain your Sultai deck and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's just. And then I reached out. I was like, "Hey, do you like want to work on some content sometime?" You're like, "Hell yeah."
I've seen y'all's content for a while now too. You guys are fairly new, I guess, to the scene, but it's still like just cranking out tons of really good content. So it's nice to see.
Yeah, we're definitely new to the scene. We have some old head Magic players, but in our group, but yeah, we've only been making content for about a year, and we're still trying to find our way in a lot of ways. But I think that a lot more outreach and collaboration between different channels, and like I know your channel's a different style than ours entirely, and your audience is different. But I think that bridging the gap is something that is definitely helpful, and
yeah,
I'm sure we can both impart knowledge on each other in a lot of different ways.
For sure. Yeah, I definitely have been geared a lot more towards casual in a lot of ways. And then I think I found myself in a problem that a lot of other casual Commander players might find themselves in, is that they get to a point where they get pretty good at deck brewing. They start to play at their local level, and they just either get like the tag of like, okay, you just pub stop or you just do this. And it's like, I'm just brewing decks because it's totally normal. People are fine with just pulling out a precon, maybe adding 5 or 6 cards and changing it out and just doing that, and that's totally fine. But for me and the play group that I play with, we're constantly just trying to get better, and that kind of inevitably just turned into playing cEDH. And so yeah,
powerful cards are fun to play with, and I think there's really no secret about that. I mean, it's prohibitive if you're not able to like afford the cards and stuff, but luckily our format allows proxies, so I don't care. Like, proxy up. Like I'm happy. I just want like another cEDH player, right? Like I don't need to play against your wallet. I don't need to play against your money. I just want to play the game.
Yeah. Playing a fake Gaia's Cradle versus a real Gaia's Cradle, I mean, maybe the real Gaia's Cradle does feel really good to play, but I feel fine either way.
Hey, they both win tournaments, so it's kind of
They both win tournaments. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. So I think today we're going to talk a little bit about Blue Farm, because this is my main tournament deck right now. And you and I were talking a little bit before this about like your experience in the format and how you're playing a lot of Sultai. And I don't know if that's like colors you favor in casual as well, but you were interested in like, what does this deck kind of means and like how it works and how it comes to like building it and like what the approach is there. So I think that's what we're going to talk about today. Before we get started on that, do you want to talk a little bit about your experience in the format and just kind of tell everyone what tournaments you've gone to and stuff like that?
Yeah, sure. So I played a lot actually when I first started. I started around like 2022. So I'm fairly new to just the game as a whole.
Sure.
Like September of 2022. So it's been about 3.5 years of me playing Commander at all. And around, like, I started playing cEDH, and my first deck was Rocco. I played Rocco a lot. This was before the bans, too.
Yeah.
I love Dockside Extortionist. Like, I had a full proxy Rocco list, except for the Commander and Dockside. That was the whole thing. So it was nice. Glorious. Then, so I played a lot of that with some friends. And then eventually those friends kind of stopped playing Commander as a whole. So I pretty much stopped playing cEDH altogether. Just went back to casual, kind of ran into the same problems of just like, okay, well, I either pub stomp or I play a really low power deck compared to other people, and then I just lose everything. So it was always like a power imbalance. Like no one knew what to play. Eventually, I start getting a little bit more interest in cEDH. This was around, I don't know, August of 2025. So very recently got back into it. And I was like, well, what would I want to build? What kind of cEDH decks would I want to have? And I basically looked at Sultai, and I'm like, I play a lot of this in casual. And I looked at some lists, and Tevesh Thras, I looked at a Tevesh Thras list because I really like those two commanders. And I realized I owned like pretty much 80 of the 100 cards that it required.
Sure.
And then I already had pretty much all the proxies that I would need to complete the deck. So I pretty much had the deck already good to go. I knew it was worse than a lot of the other lists. I knew it wasn't the best list, even if it was fully optimized, it was not going to be the best deck. But I was like, this is totally fine because I enjoy these commanders. I build it, I start playing, I do pretty decent. I start winning a couple games at a time, doing pretty well. And the timing was pretty good. We eventually get to like maybe 3 weeks after I start playing again, and there's already a tournament. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'll go. No pressure. As we're going up there, I'm really, really nervous. I really want to do well.
Sure.
But I told myself, I was like, as long as I can go 1-2-1, I'll be happy. Like if I can get one win, I'll be fine. End up going and I win my very first game. I was like, hey, this is pretty cool. I ended up winning on the stack on top of a Timna Thras's culling ritual.
Oh, cool.
And so I ended up doing that with Kin and Basalt. So that was pretty fun. And then going to the next couple games, and because I had those initial 5 points, I was put into like all the basically higher tables.
Yeah.
And that was not very fun because then I lost every game. We drew, and then I lost the last round to a Quark Silas list that just won on turn 2. And I was like, well,
as an established cEDH player, you're like, oh, that wasn't fun because I ran into players that are like better. But for me, I don't know, like just getting free wins is not like fun. Like I need the challenge almost. And like for me at locals, like it's kind of funny. Last Saturday I played Tevesh Thras at locals, and we were talking about this a little bit, and I like didn't win a single game, but that's okay. Like for me, I was enjoying the challenge and like trying to flex those muscles of creativity and in different aspects. So I kind of needed like the emotional reset because I'm very used to at this point like doing well at tournaments, and sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, like I can also just crash out. Like I can also just not do well sometimes, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
But
so I got the semis there. That was pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
Then fast forward and about like a month later, do another tournament because it's like a monthly tournament thing that one of the LGSs around here they host. Okay. So I go to this second one. It's a 5-round tournament instead of a 4-round tournament. End up going 2-1-2. So I did
pretty good.
Did a lot better. Actually, it cut to top 10 because it was like 47 players, close to 50. So they cut to top 10, and I'm actually in second seat in the semis.
So you get the buy.
I was in a much better spot. It was pretty cool. And then
wait, did you get the buy, or were you in?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, sorry. I think I was 4th overall in the Swiss.
Okay.
After all was said and done, or maybe 5th overall. I don't know. And then I was second seat in the semifinals pod. I was really close because in the last 2 rounds of the Swiss, I think if I keep a different hand or if I play it just a little different, I could have gotten there. But you can never know that. But yeah, then kind of the same problem with the deck. Like it's a big reason I'm actually interested in Blue Farm, which is what we're talking about today. But sometimes the deck is really good at building a very strong board state. But because you have a strong board state, people tend to target you. They interact with you a lot more. And you don't get as much leeway compared to maybe some other decks that are a bit more subtle about how they develop.
Sure.
And so because of that, like I've been thinking about pivoting, even though I've done pretty well. So I'm definitely more of a Cradle player, very interested in looking at the Esper side of things or the Grixis side of things, very similar to you. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's interesting to hear about your experiences with the format because I think that everyone that jumps into the format has sort of a different thing as far as like what they start out with. I think that you're in a really good spot because you started with not an entirely meta deck, but you started with a deck that plays 95 to 99% of meta cards, right? Like you could have played maybe a better optimized pairing with like Tymna Thrasios or Rog Thras or Yoshi Thras, right? But even Tevesh Thras, there's like nothing weird that it adds to the deck. So like it's a total meta strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of players don't start with that. And we always recommend, we're like, hey, if you're just like learning cEDH, you need to start with something that like people are doing these things for a reason. There's really not like a lot of secrets about it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're like, oh, I want to play my favorite Sultai commander, I don't know. I can't even what's the Muldrotha, right? Like powerful card in casual, incredibly powerful. But you look at it from a cEDH perspective and you're like, what does this do?
Muldrotha does have a 4-card combo that can mill out your opponents. So it's definitely viable.
Yeah. At some point you will have 4 cards in your hand, whether it'll be those 4 cards or not, like, who's to say? But yeah, I think, like I said, you started from a really good spot because you recognize like, okay, I want to play meta strategies, but I want to do it my style. And like, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Definitely no knocks on you for that. From your perspective, real quick, before we get into it, what does cEDH look like to you as far as, you had mentioned like you had mentioned your record in the tournament, and you said you went 2-1-2. Like, are you comfortable with like draws in tournaments? Like, do you understand like why that is a thing?
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people kind of take issue with it. I made a video about my first tournament, right?
Yeah,
and
I remember listening to that.
There's a lot of comments in there that are just like, this event sounds miserable. You guys all are tryhards. You guys are so terrible. Like all those things. I'm just like, oh, this sounds god awful. And I was like, I had a blast.
Yeah.
I know the whole drawing thing gets people worked up a lot. And there's some times where I think you can definitely approach it the wrong way, where some people are like, oh, well, at least I got a draw. And like, you definitely don't want that. But there's times where sometimes a draw is literally the only option because king making exists. And that's one of my frustrations with the format, yes, is that when it's 4 players, there's sometimes just,
there's no way forward.
Yeah, you just can't. Like when there's, 2 Ristic studies because somebody copied it with a clever impersonator, and then someone's got a tie, then someone's got a ranger captain. There's 2 ranger captains. Like in the semis of my second tournament, that's kind of the issue that we were at, is that there was 2 ranger captains, but somebody had a Mr. Gamora out in the battlefield, but they had 20 mana. That fish was never dying. Like it was just like it was basically, okay, whoever jams first is probably going to lose, or they're going to make sure that everybody else loses because of that. In semis, it definitely kind of stinks because there has to be a winner at Top Cut. Some people have been doing restarts, I guess, but I'm not a huge fan of that. I think drawing is a good thing in most cases, because there are some people that will show up to the tournament and they're like, I'm playing this turbo strategy that just wants to jam, so I'm going to either force every game into a draw, or I'm going to win because you don't have anything. And like, sometimes if you run into that, like, bro, it's like a kamikaze pilot. It's like, what are you supposed to do? We got to do something to stop those players. Because I think if draws didn't exist, if that wasn't really an option, there'd be a lot more variance in the format where, yeah, sometimes you're playing a perfectly fine deck, but you're just 4th seat, and player 2 on the play, or like, second seat on a turbo deck just jams on his turn 2. You don't even get a second turn. You get to play your land and a soul ring, and you're like, hey, I got a good hand. What? You just lose. Right. So I think draws can definitely help out the format in a lot of ways because of that. Sometimes, yes, you get into wonky situations, but for the most part, I like draws.
The reason I brought that up was because I wanted to remind the audience and whoever watches this video that like there's different levels to winning in cEDH. The goal overall is to win. But when you're entering a tournament, you need to win the tournament. And currently in our point structure that we use in US tournaments is that you get 5 points for a win, 1 point for a draw, and 0 points for a loss. So if you're up in a situation where you can either draw the game or lose the game, you need to take any advantage you can get, and sometimes you have to take a draw. If you're just starting cEDH, you're going to find it very easy to draw games because you're like navigating that situation is hard. You see someone putting a win attempt on the stack and you're like, okay, well, I can counter this here, but like I might lose to somebody else. And then you start having a conversation of like, maybe we should draw this game. Those situations will come up a ton and people will say like, there's too many draws in the format, that kind of stuff. But as you get more experienced and just play the format a lot more, especially in tournaments, I think that navigating yourself out of the situations in a positive manner, where instead of saying like, okay, in the past I would have drawn this game, but because I played it a certain way or I said a certain thing, I was actually able to negotiate myself into a win. That's where like the next level up comes from. And getting yourself out of the draw hell is like something that's not the easiest thing to do. And I think part of that is playing decks like Blue Farm, because the decks are able to pivot. They're able to consistently put up wins with very, very few resources. So like, let's say your win attempt gets stopped. It's like, okay, well, I've got 3 other things I can try. And if I have the resources, or if I just have to wait another turn cycle to get to that, if you're playing a deck that doesn't have the ability to pivot, then you end up in like that kind of draw cycle where you're like, oh, I drew this game. It's like, well, that's because you had 3 lands in your hand and a tutor that doesn't get you to a win con. Like you kind of need the gas, right? And Blue Farm provides a lot of that. So I kind of wanted to use that as jumping off point for us putting the deck together.
Yeah.
I can walk you through like my process of building a deck.
Awesome.
All right. So we've got this list together. It's just Tymna and Crom right now, but with my process, I've got these packages built out where I have a list of cEDH staples, a list of mana rocks, a list of lands, both the dual lands and the utility lands. And I have these 4 packages that I use as a baseline for all of my decks. What I like to do first is, you guys can find the list for all these packages in the description of this video. You can subscribe to them. They'll show up in your mock seal just like how Matthew's seeing them right now. So go to exactly where you're at, that little lightning bolt, and click on cEDH staples first. Hopefully, maybe. Interesting. Hit refresh and then try it. Okay, you can edit. You can edit, right? Yeah, you got edit.
Yeah.
Okay, I just did it. You can refresh. All right. For some reason, it didn't work on his end. Now, the way that packages work in Moxfield is that we have a ton of green cards in there, right? But green is not part of this deck's color identity. So it doesn't even add those cards anywhere in this list. It just ignores them totally. The package has a bunch of mainstream staples in the main board and a bunch of more specific or less seen staples in the sideboard. And then I think there's even some like really obscure stuff in the considering. So it's going to add a bunch of cards to the sideboard, a bunch of cards to the main board. And you'll be like, oh, this is a lot to sort through. But the easiest thing right now is we need to get all the stuff that's in the main board into the sideboard. So do bulk edit at the top. And I find that it's easier to add stuff in than it is to take stuff out. So copy all this, cut it. Yeah. And then just press enter, paste. Yep, exactly. Perfect. All right. So now it's pretty clean. We got everything in the sideboard. We got 227 cards in the sideboard. So from Blue Farm's perspective, I think the best thing to start with is the mana base and mana rocks. Now we've got everything in the sideboard. These other packages will add them to the main board for you. So go ahead and we'll see if it works, but like if it doesn't, I can just do it. Yeah, go ahead and click on each one of those. Looks like they're not working. All right, I'll just do it on my end, and then you can refresh.
Cool.
Seems like you can edit the deck otherwise, so I don't know why it's doing that. All right, so we've got our artifacts there. As you can see, there's pretty kind of standard stuff, right? There's nothing out of the ordinary. We've got our fast mana. We've got two mana talismans and Mox Opal, Soul Ring. You know, nothing on the face of it like we want to cut, right?
Yeah.
And then you go down the lands, and we've got 32 lands. That seems pretty high. Right now, because we're in a 4-color deck, we probably don't need shock lands.
Yeah.
So we can pull out 4 shock lands. That'll bring us down to 28. Okay. And there should be 6. Actually, sorry. Yeah, there should be 6. Watery Grave is the last one. Put Watery Grave in the sideboard, actually. Yeah. So because we're in 4 colors, we've got 6 of each type of dual. We have the ability to run 10 fetches, which is really nice. And that's one of the strengths of 4-color. It's just having an incredibly solid mana base. The other things to look at are multicolor lands. So we've got Cavern of Souls, City of Brass, Mana Confluence, Exotic Orchard, Command Tower. Those are our rainbow lands. We have other options for rainbow lands such as Starting Town and Tarnished Citadel, Forbidden Orchard. Those are a little bit more kind of depends on your deck style. Yeah. So I think at this point, we don't necessarily need to decide right now, but I want you to start thinking about, do I want to run the more turbo slanted version of the deck, or do I want to run the more Esper slanted version of the deck where it's more, not control, but more mid-range?
Yeah, I'm definitely thinking more of the Esper side, but turbo is also really fun. I guess I would ask, what's the difference? Why would you do turbo in this kind of deck versus just playing a ROG Sai?
There's a more stable base for turbo. So if you fail your turbo plan, you have the ability to get yourself back into the game in a reliable manner. I prefer the turbo slanted version of the deck because for me, when I play Blue Farm, I'm hardly ever casting Tymna or Crom.
Yeah.
I just don't. And then is just to get back to the lands, the other thing is Emergence Zone. We don't have any way to tutor for it reliably. Like we have black tutors, but there's no to the battlefield tutors for E-Zone. We have other flash enablers, so let's pull E-Zone out. Cool. So we got 25 lands. It's a little light, but we can take care of that later. I think that's a good mana base to start with. And then about a quarter of your deck is lands in cEDH for the most part, unless you're running a different type of strategy. Some will go as low as 22, 23 in decks like Ral or ROG Sai. We talked about those turbo decks where we don't want to hit lands at any point. Like once we start drawing cards or putting cards in our hand, we just need a couple mana and really strong payoff.
Yeah.
Farm's kind of in the middle there at 25, 27. And then some other like land strategies like Lumra can run upwards of 40, 50 lands. It just really depends on the deck style.
Yeah.
But I would say like a traditional list, like maybe your Tevesh Thrasios is probably on like 28, 29 with an MDFC. All right. So we've got kind of our good base setup. And we'll tune this as we start to build this out. We've got our artifacts, we've got our lands. This is our mana production of the deck. And what you'll notice is that we've got very similar numbers to what a casual deck would have as far as mana producing sources. If you look at what's in our main deck right now, we have 37 cards. And like, that's kind of what the command zone says about EDH is like, oh, run 37 lands. So yeah, we've got a lot of good mana producing sources here. Now we can go down to the sideboard. We've imported all 4 of our packages and we can start picking apart this sideboard. And for you, I want you to talk about, like, as you go through this list alphabetically, I know there's a lot here, but we can kind of cruise through it really quick. If anything stands out to you, cards you're like, oh, I know Farm runs that, and like I really want the opportunity to run that card. I think Ad Nauseam is a great example, right? So like, go ahead and drag that into the main board. Have you ever used the click and drag feature?
I have every once in a while. Sometimes it gets a little clunky for me, so I usually like right clicking, but I can certainly do that as well.
No, it's up to you. I know like a lot of people don't know it exists. So Ad Nauseam is a great example of cards that see play in this deck. 100%. But if you want to see anything else, like you don't even have to talk about every single card, but like you can just kind of name it and say like, oh, I want to play this card, or I think it should play this card. We can just start stuffing stuff into the main board.
Yeah. I mean, I really like Beseech a lot. I think it's pretty good. Sometimes I've thought about Bergie. A lot of times with Bergie, I feel like that's more of the turbo side of things, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's also just a really good card on its own as like a mana producer.
Yeah, I mean, like, go ahead and just, if you're unsure about it, just like throw it in. We can talk about it. And then, yeah.
I've thought about Artifice of Ogma. I think it's easier to cast than Washitong. That's why I've thought about it. But I've played a lot with Washitong. That card's so busted. Like, it's so good. So yeah, I don't know what your thoughts are on the 2. I think I'll add this one just in case. But yeah, I think if it's a bit more controlling, I think Offer is fine. One thing, I don't really necessarily like the treasures that we give them, but 1 mana counterspell is pretty good. A Brain Freeze for sure, because it's one of the ways we're winning. Born Upon Win is great too, because you're right. I think Emergent Zone is really hard to tutor for, but Born Upon Win is really easy to get in this list. I think Cabal Ritual, because we're casting a ton of spells, is going to be good. It's also just more mana. I'm kind of low on Chain of Vapor. I like Into the Flood Maw a lot more. What are your thoughts on Chain?
So for me, Chain is a removal spell in the technical sense, but I like to use it as a storm spell where I bounce all my stuff, replay it, and then so I like it for those reasons. But I can see why you're not running. Like if you're not interested in it, that's fine.
Boom. Yeah, I've just never found myself in a position to do that. But then again, I've been playing a very lands heavy list that wants my lands.
Sure.
And so sacrificing the lands just feels like a really difficult cost. But I could certainly be convinced.
We typically don't do it unless we're winning, right?
For sure.
If you're able to like bounce all your stuff, make enough mana, sack all your lands, it doesn't matter if your lands are gone if you just win that turn.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
true. Psych Rift, I'm kind of on like in my local meta. I think it's fine. There's a lot of other green players, a lot of board states being developed.
Okay.
And so I think Psych Rift is a really good, just like tempo card. Like you can just do it at somebody's end step right before your turn, and you just put every other player behind. Also would turn off like Fierce Guardianships and deflecting swats and stuff like that. Culling the Week I think is good. I guess it depends on how many creatures we're actually producing in the list though, but I'll put it in. Dark Ritual for sure.
Yeah, staple.
Yeah. Thought About Days. We got a guy at my local shop. He loves this card. And he somehow always finds a way to cast it, and it always gets somebody, and it's the worst thing ever. You always hate getting dazed.
Deflecting Swat, easy add.
Swat for sure. Demonic Consultation for sure. I think Demonic Tutor is great. Diabolic Intent's kind of the same thing as Culling the Week. I feel like we'd need to know how many creatures we're actually going to have to do this, but I think it's fine. DRC, yeah, I feel like if you're more red focused, you'd add it. We'll add it just in case, because again, I'm kind of open to the more turbo side too as well.
Sure. And we can find our own way as well. Like there's the slanting between turbo and mid range, but we can find somewhere in the middle too.
I think Esper's great.
Yeah, of course.
I think Fairy Mastermind is good. I've been a little iffy on Fairy Mastermind. So it's like, I guess I heard somebody say it's like, it's not your own innate card advantage having a Fairy Mastermind, because it only triggers if somebody's already getting a ton of cards in their hand. But I think it's also like it allows you to still just keep up with those people that are doing that. Is that kind of how you think about it too?
It's a complicated card for a few reasons. The card advantage is good, but there's other aspects of the card that are like really make it a lot better, such as like it's a blue card, so you can pitch it to like Force of Will if you need to. The other aspects that are good are like it's a decent Tymna attacker because it's flying. And so we need to start evaluating creatures based on the strengths with Tymna.
True.
The other thing is that, are you aware of the interaction with Fairy Mastermind and Smothering Tithe?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So like you can activate it for 4, generate 3 treasures. You're going net -1 every time you activate. And then you can extend this interaction to cards like Orcish Bowmaster. We're able to, with Fairy Mastermind, Bowmaster, and Tithe, you're able to keep like the entire board clear because you're forcing your opponents to draw cards and you're generating 3 OBM pings on every activation. But like those interactions are really good. And then also if you're able to get double Tithe or like you get a Kinnan somehow, you're able to actually win the game with Mastermind, because then you're going positive on every activation.
True.
And your opponents cannot play through that.
Yeah, I've had a Tymna Thras win over top of my own win attempt with this, and it was not fun.
You're like, oh, we're dead.
Yeah, we just die. They cast Silence. I'm like, oh, okay, sure. Yeah. Oh, cast Fairy Mastermind. I have a Tithe and a Training Grounds on the field. You guys lose. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. I think Fierce is good. Since you're on the more turbo side of things, and you say you don't really cast Tymna or Crom, do you play this card still?
I do.
Yeah.
Fierce and SWAT are good enough. And plus with LED and Breach, you're able to cast them off of just LED. So like it works out okay. They're not my favorite cards in the deck right now, but they're pretty solid.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on like the Flare package? Because it's the same thing. I feel like we'd have to have a higher creature count, similar with the Culling the Week or Diabolic Intent.
Yeah, we're not a
make sense.
Real creature focused deck, but if you look at the command zone, unfortunately, our blue-red is coming from Crom, which is a 5-mana commander. Yeah. So unless you're specifically building around blue and red creatures in your main board, it's not very reliable.
Fair.
My list is on Flare of Duplication because we have a lot of red creatures.
Okay. Yeah, like your Ragavans and Professional Facebreakers and stuff.
Exactly. So you just added Flusterstorm. That sounds good.
Yeah. I think I'll add Flare just in case.
Okay, and we can talk about it.
Yeah. I think
Force of Negation
is
sounds good.
Force of Will. It's a bad card. You 2-for-1 yourself, guys. It's really bad.
No, that card's incredible. Gamble sounds good. I noticed you skipped over Dranith and also Fire Covenant. I just want to hear your thoughts on it. I'm not saying you should put them in, but
yeah, I'm not off Dranith. I think Dranith is pretty good. I realize now I did just kind of walk over them. I think Dranith is good for a lot of things, like especially if I'm trying to go more into the Esper side or thinking about it. I think it's definitely a good include. Dranith is very similar to like what is it? How I see Oppo Agent, where it's like it's not always going to be backbreaking, even if you're a super commander reliant deck. Usually they try to opt for removal for Dranith, but it buys you like 2 or 3 turns on average. I usually see.
That's
which
the most
is like
notable
sometimes
thing.
Enough.
That's the most notable thing in farm specifically is that you're not necessarily trying to control the board or control your opponents from like casting their commanders. You're trying to buy yourself space. And anytime you have space, that means like that's free reign for you to try a win attempt. Or if someone's going to waste their interaction on a Dranith or like removal on a Dranith, that's interaction or removal that you're not eating elsewhere.
Yeah. I also think Fire Covenant's great.
We are on
play this
ad
in my
nos, so like
that's
I
the
would
hardest part.
be careful with that. It is an instant, which is nice, but like if it's a good like check card for certain metas.
Yeah, I play this in my casual Rakdos deck, and it is insane.
I'm sure people at the table love that.
Yeah, no, they get really happy when I play that. I think Grand Abolishers is great. Maybe a little hard to cast, but I think we're going to be making a lot of treasures, so I think we're fine.
Right.
Grinding Station's one of the win cons.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
It goes in the breach lines, right?
It certainly can, if you wanted to.
We could talk about that.
Absolutely.
I think Ipsil's pretty good. Usually I think Ipsil's not great, but because we can draw through Tymna, it's not terrible.
I've never cut Imseal from any cEDH deck.
Really?
No. It's too powerful.
I agree. 1 mana, get any card is pretty good. LED, we can maybe put Jessica's Will in here too, just to consider it. Lotho's a busted card. This card is absolutely insane.
Yeah, someone called a mistake, but it's all right.
Mayhem Devil, I think is pretty cool.
Okay.
Spicy include. That's again a bit more on the slower, grindier side, but I think that's fine.
Mental Misstep, Mind Break Trap, sure.
Mirror Maid's pretty fun. I played that a couple times in my Tvesh Thras list, and it's like, I mean, sometimes you're not in white, so sometimes you just need a Smothering Tithe yourself. So
it's totally reasonable to run in this list too. If you want to stuff it in, we can try to find a spot for it. And maybe it gets cut, but we can talk about it.
It's also like you can also just copy your own Ristic or Tithe, so it's pretty good. I think Misdirection's pretty good sometimes. I mean, again, that might also be on the chopping block. Mnemonic Betrayal, I think about a lot, but Mnemonic Betrayal always just feels like it only does well when the game has gone bad for other players. Like, oh, okay, your win con got countered, so now it's in your graveyard. Now this card finally does something, but I could be totally wrong on that. Mockingbird's busted.
I will say I've never cut Mnemonic Betrayal from a cEDH deck that can run it.
Okay.
I would recommend putting it in.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it too. What was the card after that you put in?
A Mockingbird.
Okay, sure.
Mystical Tutor, Mystic Remora.
Easy.
Necropotence, obviously.
Okay, so I see we're going on the Necro plan. Interesting.
Yeah. That's I say obviously. That's where again I think that's kind of the pivot point of like turbo or not turbo.
Yeah.
I think Necro's kind of the decision on that.
So I want you to look before you start adding more cards. And obviously we can go over the number of 100 right now because we're just filling out and flushing out the deck. But we're at 82 and we've already got our mana base and we've got our rocks done. So we're in the letter O. We have a lot more of the alphabet left to go.
That's true.
So let's keep going. But I just wanted you to know, like, this is the struggle with Blue Farm is
there's so many good cards.
there's so many good cards in these colors. We have to eventually just like pick. And people are like, why aren't you on this? Why aren't you on that? It's like, because there's only 100 cards in the deck. That's why.
Yeah, true. I added Oppo and Bowmaster.
Sure.
Again, that's probably we'll go back once like the initial list is completed, and that's again the pivot point of like Necropotence or more Esper style. Like, are we turbo or are we not turbo?
Right.
That is probably one of the problems with this deck. Oh no, my problem is that there's too many good cards to play. Oh no, what a shame.
My soup is too good. Too
I
tasty.
know, right? I think Metamorph's decent.
Okay.
Professional Facebreaker, really good card.
You skipped over Orim's Chant, Path to Exile, Praetor's Grasp.
So I've thought about, I like Orim's Chant, especially if there's only like one blue player at the table. Yeah, we could put it in. I think it's, again, I think they're just like, we're running out of space. Path is good. I think Swords is better, but then again, actually Path might be better because almost nobody runs basic lands anymore. So it's like, you're technically giving them 0 upside to your 1 mana removal spell.
I would be careful because a lot of Rog Thras and Cradle focused decks are running Earthcraft.
That's true, because they have Earthcraft, yeah.
Yeah.
Praetor's Grass, I think we can add that. Ranger Captain, yes.
You've got everything shifted one line, so go back to one line above. Then we got like Pyroblast is at the end there.
Yeah, Pyroblast. I think Red Elemental Blast 2 as well. I know we're going to find that over here. Ragavan, 100%.
Yeah, it's a broken card.
I know probably you and a lot of other players are on Reign of Filth. I think that's the same with the whole Chain of Vapor debacle. It's like it's kind of
if you're in the turbo version of the list, like, we will win by any means necessary. I don't care if I die trying. Like, we have to win, right? And like, it's just another ritual. It also kind of like stuffs your graveyard for Breach, which is pretty solid. But yeah, it's really up to you. If you're not used to the play style of it, like, I probably wouldn't recommend it.
I actually run it in my bracket 4. I'll say bracket 4.5 because it's running a lot of Fats mana in my Braves list.
To casting Reign of Filth with 3 lands though, because that's like the play pattern.
Yes.
It's like,
like in my Braves list, I sacrifice my lands a lot, and then it's like, oh, sack a land, I get to draw 3, and I almost always guaranteed like have another land ready to go and stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah, sometimes Reign of Filth is just another dark ritual. It just happens to, die, like get me killed. Red Elemental Blast, yes. Rhystic Study, yes. I think Rite of Flame is good if you're on the more turbo side. We are adding a lot of cards now. Savines, you need that for intuition. Silence, it's great. Simian Spirit Guide, it's great. Smothering Tide. Spellseeker is really good in my Guy's Cradle deck. I don't know if it's going to be as good in a deck like this, though. Fire of Industry maybe as a land. I do think Starting Town's pretty good.
I think Starting Town's pretty good as well. I'm on it right now.
Bring us up to 26 lands. I think it's a bit more responsible. I played against a blue farm list that played Stormkiln Artist.
I'm on it.
And that was crazy. I think
it has positive interactions with Chain of Vapor and Flusterstorm and Brain Freeze. Yeah, it's fantastic. Swan Song, sure.
Swords.
We're in the S.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll have plenty of cuts because I think we added both the slower side of Timothy and the faster side. So yeah,
don't get me wrong. I'm very confident we can get down to 100 cards. It's not a problem. Yeah. I'm just making a point for the audience to be like, hey, this is the struggle of cEDH deck building. It's like there's so many good cards we have to.
Yeah. I think the Taro is pretty good. It also makes more mana for our list.
Yeah, I like the Taro.
Do you think we need any more talismans? Like, does this Staples have Mox Opal in it?
It does.
It does. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, would that? I guess we're making a lot of treasures. Would you want at least like 13 artifacts for that?
No, I don't think so. I think we're even going to go down one. We're probably going to cut Grim Monolith.
Cool. One Ring? Oh, well, also that's Oracle for sure.
I think a 4-mana draw one right now is kind of a little ambitious.
Yeah.
For this format.
I have been kind of off the One Ring for a little bit. My friends say that I'm trolling, but I'm like, I don't know. It's just
in casual,
slow.
I get it, but in cEDH, unless you have a way to abuse it, like I don't think it's that great. Yeah.
Yep.
Defining card of this deck is Breach.
It's an insane card. Valley Flood Caller, Vamp Tutor.
Yep.
Voice of Victory. We'll put Washi Tong in there. We'll see if it stays. Wheel of Fortune. It's a good card. Wish Claw. Yawgmoth. We'll consider it. We'll put it in.
Sure.
Every time I've played Yawgmoth's Will, I'm like, how does this card work? It's like not Breach, but it's kind of like Breach. I'm just like, if
It's
I play
Breach
this
too.
card, is it? Yeah, I'm like, if I play this card, is it getting exiled or what? How does this work?
This
Let me
looks
just
pretty
look.
solid to me, especially as a starting point. Like I think that there wasn't really anything major that we missed. And when I do coaching sessions, I will often ask clients to do the same process, because what I'm looking for is your thought process as you go. And then I can also assess your knowledge of the format based on what you say and what cards you're including. For you, I don't think you missed anything too major. We can double check our work in a second.
Yeah.
And I think you have very sound reasonings for cards. And right now you're exploring the deck and seeing like what things you want to accomplish in the deck. And that's totally fine. Like there's nothing wrong about what just happened. The next thing that I would do as far as like looking at the deck, scroll all the way up so that that search bar, like we still see it. Below that is an EDH Rex button. Click on that. This will tell you anything that is commonly seen in this deck that we're not currently running. As we can see, there's Shocklands. People are running One Ring. I think that's incorrect. Again, this is just like, this is an automated system. This is not like, oh, you know, Jason Doan is like the best blue farm player in the area and he's like rank 2. And he's also part of our team, by the way. But like, this is not pulling Jason's list and going, okay, this is what he's running. This is just every blue farm player that exists out there. So I use this as a reference point to see like, okay, what did I miss? Because sometimes, like for me, or for us in this case, we missed Chain of Vapor. Like I think Chain should be probably in the deck.
Okay, yeah. I can agree with that. I think the biggest thing is, again, I've never been in a point in any of the decks that I've run Chain of Vapor to do that. I think that's just a lack of knowledge on my part. But I definitely have seen some people do that where they'll cast Chain of Vapor, bouncing their rocks, make more mana. I'm like, cool.
Yeah, it definitely depends on the deck, and like if the deck is built for it or styled for it, like it can mesh or blend better.
Yeah.
Let's just go down a couple more rows. We don't need to look at the whole 100 cards here. It's sorted by popularity. So I think like Windfall was another one that was suggested there. That's probably worthwhile.
Yeah.
And then let's see if there's anything else. Dispel is like whatever. Snapback's fine. Snap, Fimage, some lands like Tarnished Citadel we talked about.
Yeah.
And then we're already into the weeds. Like there's like Teferi and Douthie Voidwalker. Like no one's playing that crap in farm. It's just but it's gonna hit things that we don't already have, right? So like it's not gonna anything that's already in the deck, it's not gonna show in this list. So there's really no point. Yeah. This is all good. So I think we're at a really good spot. So let's go back.
Cool.
And then let's take a look at our 118 cards. I think we're on 26 or 27 lands right now.
We're at 26 right now.
Cool. I think that's probably where we want to be. So that's totally fine. I think from the artifacts perspective, something we need to probably cut is Grim Monolith.
Okay.
If you look at the card, it is a +1 colorless rock. So you are sometimes taking color and then turning it into colorless or banking it for the next turn. Yeah. And like in this deck, it's fine, but I think it's like not quite good enough. Like we have Mana Vault, that's like a +2 rock. That's good. So we talked about you wanting to focus on the sort of more Esper side of things, like the more kind of standard farm list. And what we can do is we can pick out like the turbo cards and kind of remove the more turbo slanted cards. As far as creatures go, I think DRC is like kind of fitting in that turbo slanted role because DRC helps us fill our yard very quickly. And then also just like it's a decent Tymna attacker. It's 1-drop and it turns on like Flare of Duplication. But other than that, like it doesn't do a whole lot. It's not a combo piece. It doesn't really have a reason for existing. It's objectively worse Ragavan.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's one easy cut. Talk to me about Burgi, because you had mentioned that earlier.
Bergie, I just see it on a lot of lists. I think it's very similar to Stormkiln, but I think maybe in this list of Stormkiln's actually better. But I think Stormkiln and Bergie are also kind of more in the turbo thing, because if you're playing more turbo, you're probably just you're trying to find a turn or two where you are just kind of casting a lot of spells going into it.
Okay.
Honestly, when I think of Bergie, I think of Rogsai, which means I'm like you're probably on a much more turbo plan where all your spells also become rituals on top of it.
Sure.
So I don't think it necessarily fits in the deck. It's like a decent mana engine, but if we're more on the Esper side, we're not in red, which means this is just producing red mana, which is in most cases just basically going to be a colorless mana. So I think we can probably get off of it.
Before you do anything with Bergie, let me talk about it for a second. We are a deck that makes mana. We talked about treasure generation and mana generation, fast mana, all that stuff. We need payoffs. And one of those payoffs that we talked about is Ad Nauseam. That's a 5 mana payoff. You're able to mass draw a good portion of your deck.
Yeah.
Even at instant speed, right? And then you'll find a way to win. You'll put something together, whether it's like your tutors, more mana, or maybe you'll just draw into Breach and Worthasses, etc. Have you read the backside of Bergie?
I have. It's actually saved me in a game, and like as soon as I was like done with my point, I was like, oh, Bergie has a backside. So, yeah, I mean this part's insane.
We talked about how Farm splits the modality of turbo and mid range.
Yeah.
In the turbo aspect of the deck, the front side's good enough. Like it's fine. You can easily cast the front side. It can build you up mana with your free rocks. You can go +1 on your free rocks. You can cast Mox Amber, make a red, tap Mox Amber for a red because Bergie's a legend. You have double red. You can go Final Fortune or things like that. It's just good, right? On the backside, if you're able to produce a lot of mana and you are in that late game, let's say turn 3 to turn 5, and you have a ton of mana and you have cards, you're like, these cards don't quite convert me into a win. Cast the backside of Bergie and then start discarding cards. And guess what? When you discard cards, they're going into your yard for Breach.
Yeah.
And it's really good.
Yeah. Cool. Bergie stays.
It's just another payoff. And also, when you're hitting it off Nas, you are only hitting a 3-drop, not an 8 or a 5. So it is mana efficient and it feels good.
Cool.
So I think I would, in both versions of the list, I would probably keep Bergie.
Okay. Cool. I think Mayhem Devil's good, especially if we're on a more slow plan, because it's basically a second OBM, and we make a lot of treasures. A lot of other players are making a lot of treasures. I think it's pretty good. I know there was one guy. What is it? The Top Deck Invitational guy. What is the Bite Size MTG?
Yeah, Zach.
He loves this card.
Yeah, good friend of the channel. I actually ran Rogsai at Invitational last year, and I run a build called Wrongsai where it's not turbo. It's not the turbo. I'm the originator of the deck.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So I ran Mayhem Devil specifically for the Invitational. And yeah, I'm a big fan of the card. I think it will fit well in this deck. Okay. It might make the chopping block depending on what we keep.
Yeah, which is fine.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about Metamorph. I added it in there just because I'm like, it's a clone. 3-mana clone of artifact or creature is pretty good. But I think if we're looking at any of these other creatures, I think this one's an easier one to cut.
Good. Yeah, I agree with that. And Farm, I think, traditionally doesn't run any clones except for Mockingbird, just because it's the most mana efficient. And we can tutor off of Ranger Captain.
Pro Facebreaker, Ragavan, I don't think we ever cut those, because Professional Facebreaker is basically a Bergie as well. You just sack a treasure.
Yeah.
You get so many cards. Like, it's insane.
It also starts making mana with Tymna for some reason. Like you have a Tymna that draws you cards and makes mana. Like that's it's really
crazy.
Good.
I put this in like every red deck because I'm like, wait, how can I get? Because red kind of struggles with draw. I'm like, how can I get a bit more draw and how can I get a bit more mana? And this just both, and it's insane. It's so good.
We have like a silent treasure package in this deck, and it's not really like there's incidental payoffs like Facebreaker and stuff like that. But like if you're running Lotho, Ragavan, Facebreaker, Tithe, Tataru, even Stormkiln, like that's a lot of treasure generation, and just having Facebreaker as another outlet for that it's just fantastic.
Yeah. Speaking of what, I mean, I don't think Ranger Captain's going or Simian Spirit Guide. I think for Stormkill, that is kind of, it feels a bit more like that pivot point where it's like, do we keep this or do we not keep this? For me, I think about it like we still do have a ton of instants and sorceries in the deck. And I think, I mean, we'll probably cut the instants down to maybe 30, but like we'll still have a ton of, we'll have at least 40 because maybe like 10 sorceries and 30 instants, like 40 cards that are able to trigger this. Plus we have like Flusterstorm and Brain Freeze
And Chain of Vapor.
And Chain of Vapor that it's
Yeah.
like this, I feel like this card stays even if it is a more slow Esper game plan.
It is really powerful, and it's very easy to cast because it's you have red rituals, whether it's Jessica's Will or even just like Mana Vault helps you cast it, and it's much harder to counter than Smothering Tithe.
Yeah.
So it's pretty solid. We can keep it for now.
Yeah.
The cards that are giving me pause or like making me think about your creature package are the Archivist of Ogma effects. I don't think they're like particularly strong here.
Okay.
And then similarly, Drannith and Oppo. I know I advocated for Drannith earlier, but I just kind of wanted you to think about it.
Yeah.
I just like feel like there's not a whole lot of room. And then if we cut those 4, we're down to 17 creatures. And that's probably like a good number for farm.
Yeah. Yeah, I can agree with you. When do you think it's appropriate to have cards like Archivist and Wan-Shi Tong? Because I see them a lot in my local metagame. And people are super high on those cards. And so I guess in a list like this, if we're going a little bit slower, is it not a little bit better? Like I could be just misreading the cards.
Farm doesn't really have a problem generating cards. It has a problem generating mana. And it needs to do broken mana things to function for the most part. We have our card draw and command zone if we need it. We have Ristic Study and other mass draw effects. Those are really what we need. The deck will get cards just fine. We really need just mana. And then for Wan-Shi Tong specifically, like in decks like Kinnan, Wan-Shi Tong is an outlet, not only just like additional card draw. Like if I make infinite mana, I can draw my entire deck with Wan-Shi Tong.
Yeah.
And Farm does not really have the ability to generate infinite mana. It does not combo in that manner. It's trying to combo with like Brain Freeze and Breach and stuff like that.
Okay. Very fair. Yeah. I mean, I look at the creature package and I'm like, yeah, this looks like a blue farm list. It looks normal.
And you'll find like there's good synergies here. Like we've got Ranger Captain, we can tutor Sentinel and Mockingbird, and like we don't need more than one clone. We can always just pump mana into Mockingbird and clone what we need to. Spirit Guide's just another ritual. Stormkill into Taru, Lotho, Ragavan, Facebreaker. Those are our treasure generators and mana generators. Floodcaller is good for flash speed. We've got Voice, Ranger Captain, Abolisher for silence effects. Bergie's another kind of ad nos, kind of mana generation. Like it's just kind of does everything. Yeah. Then we've got our control pieces like Mayhem Devil and Bowmasters. And I think that's just like pretty round creature package. Like it doesn't, there's not a whole lot of fat there.
Cool. Nice. Let's go into the sorceries then. So I added Beseech. I think the problem with I added Beseech because like I know it's a decent card. I think for me, every time I've had Beseech in any of my decks, it's been really hard to cast, and it's been really hard to find something to make it worth casting, I guess. Like, and especially if we're not on the One Ring or anything like that. I guess what are your thoughts on it?
Blue Farm is like enchantment tribal. For the most part, we've got our powerful enchantments in Ristic Study, Smothering Tithe, Necropotence.
Yes.
So those are our payoffs for Beseech for the most part.
Yes.
We can also use Beseech later game for things like Underworld Breach. Beseech also lets us Thassa's Oracle at instant speed if we have a Flood Caller, which is pretty neat.
Yeah. Okay.
We can also Beseech into a Wheel. We can Beseech into a Yogg's Will. Beseech into a Mnemonic Betrayal. It's an incredibly powerful card.
Okay,
and
there we go.
We've got good black rituals to help us power it out with Culling the Weak, Cabal Ritual, Dark Ritual. And then obviously like we've got good treasure generators. We don't care about things going to the yard for the most part. So many times I go Beseech sacking Necro and like the Necro goes. There's just our enchantments can go to the yard, our treasures can go to the yard. You can sack a treasure token. Cool. It's just a good card.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that's what I always knew. It's like, I would have it in the decks, and I'm like, I know this is a good card. I know I probably should be including it. I think because I'm new to the format, there's a lot of times where I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't think I just know how to utilize the card as best as possible.
Right.
And so sometimes I look at Beseech and I cut it just because I don't know how to play it quite yet. Then
You
again,
can
I
beseech
also
into Stormkiln too.
true. There's also plenty of times where I think I don't usually have Smothering Tithe in my deck because I play Soul Tie. So that's when I
Right.
realized I was like, oh, we just have Smothering Tithe. So Demonic Tutor for sure. Diabolic Intent. I think we have enough creatures where this is totally fine.
I think for the most part, we'll have one creature out that like,
yeah.
And the other thing is with our creatures, we don't necessarily want to sack them, but it's not also the end of the world if we have to, especially if that like puts us into a win or like a more powerful effect.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cool. Gamble for Breach. Imp Seal for sure. Jessica's Will. I think this is kind of more leaning towards the turbo side, but it's also like, it's Jessica's Will. Do you ever cut Jessica's Will? I don't know.
If you're leaning more to the mid-range side and you're like more open to casting your commanders, Jessica's Will's really great. Sometimes it's just a ritual, and like if that ritual is 3 mana, make 9 mana, you'll find something to do with that 9 mana. It's like pretty good.
Yeah.
Or alternatively, if you just have like a lot of cards and you're like, I just need 3 more cards. Sorry, if you have a lot of mana and you just like, I just need 3 more cards, you can cast it for that mode too. It's totally fine. The flexibility of Jessica's Will is one of the reasons it like lends itself to being good in this deck.
Yeah. Cool. Mnemonic Betrayal. Okay, so you said you never cut this. So
No.
can you explain why, how, what makes this card so good? Because it's the same thing for me with Beseech. I'm like, I like this card. I know it's good. I just don't know when or how to cast it.
This is a tournament card through and through. You can definitely cut it in casual cEDH lists where like, oh, I don't have like the particular strategy for it, etc. If you make top cut and that top cut game goes really long, you can easily just go, here's a Mnemonic Betrayal. And if people don't answer it, you just win the game. And then you also have the opportunity to defend it because like say the game goes long because everyone's playing tight, they're playing responsibly, they're trying to get to the game to a stable state. A sudden Mnemonic Betrayal really throws a wrench into people's plans with that because then they have to answer it. Otherwise, like, oh crap, there's a DT in my yard. There's all these rituals in my yard. It also mana fixes you, which is very strange because you can spend mana of any color to cast those spells. So you could like Worldly Tutor for a red from someone's yard, put it on top, attack with Tymna, get Thassa's, do stuff like that. It's a very, very flexible card, but it requires like creativity for you to like put the win together. It also pitches well to Chrome Mox. Like you can pitch it early if you find it early and go like, okay, Force of Will pitching, meme bet. Like no one's going to bat an eye at that. Like it's good enough. And then also, lastly, we run Brain Freeze. One thing we can do is Brain Freeze our opponents and then cast Mnemonic Betrayal. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. What about Praetor's Grasp? I think the deck is like good enough at winning on its own, but I guess also you could get in times where like maybe you need to Tainted Pact to look for a counter spell and you exile your own Thassa's and you just still need a Thassa's Oracle. Like, what do you think about Praetor's Grasp?
We have plenty of ways to win without Thassa's.
Okay.
If Thassa's were banned, this deck would get better because then there would be 2 flex slots because we'd cut Thassa's and Decon.
Yeah. Okay.
We'd still keep Tainted Pact because that card's broken.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I think that like Praetor's Grasp is absolutely not necessary. It's very good in like low color black. So if you're in like black red or black blue, PG is a lot stronger because you can steal someone's breach or whatever. But yeah, I think in this deck it's like not necessary because we like you said, we just have really good card quality.
Yep. I think Rite of Flame's okay.
Yeah. Rite of Flame enables turn 2 Rhystic a lot. Yeah. So if you go land, Rite of Flame, Rhystic, like that's turn 2 Rhystic.
Sevine's for sure.
Yep.
Wheel and Windfall I think are great. Yeah, I skipped over Windfall the first time because for some reason I just never assumed it'd be in a list like this. Like I get Wheel of Fortune, but for some reason I didn't think about Windfall, but it feeds Breach and it does a lot of good stuff. So yeah.
We're on Tithe.
Sure. Yeah.
Just wheeling with a Tithe isn't a win con, but like your opponents also can't let it resolve because then you have 20 plus treasures and then you've got new set of cards and you've got cards in your yard. It becomes a problem. Yeah. And the more things that we can have to like put problems on the stack, because like what if you Windfall and then you let's say you have those treasures from Tithe, and then one of the cards you draw is Yawgmoth's Will. It's like, oh, we're like really dead. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, they both stay. Yawgmoth's Will, same thing.
I will say you don't have to be on both. Like,
Okay.
Wheel of Fortune's probably the better one
Mm-hmm.
because it's guaranteed 7.
Yeah.
And Windfall is a little bit more variable, but it could be better. And also, it's blue; it pitches other blue spells. So, like, for the longest time, I was only on one. Right now, I'm on both. But yeah, you could cut one.
Yeah.
We'll come back to it if we need to.
Yeah, we'll come back. I think both is fine. Yawgmoth's Will, same thing. I think it's fine. 35 instances is quite a bit.
It's a little more than we need. Yeah.
I think Offer's still pretty good, although it stinks like giving treasures.
So how do you avoid giving treasures to people with Offer?
You counter your own stuff with like a breach line.
Yeah, so you do that.
Or
let's say
your own Chrome Mox or something like that.
Or a stack battle's happening, and then you're like, okay, my stuff's getting countered anyway, or like this is something that like I no longer care about, so I'm going to offer my own spell that's like way down in the stack.
Yeah.
No one's countering that offer, and then all of a sudden you have 2 treasures. You just color fixed yourself, and you have +1 mana. Like, that's pretty good.
Yeah. There was one time I saw we were trying to figure out a stack battle or whatever, and somebody was like, well, I have this commandeer, but if I commandeer his stuff, it doesn't mean anything. But I'm like, you can commandeer your own offer to counter your own spell, which will give you treasures to pay for their Flusterstorm. And I was like, if you do that, then you'd be able to do that. And he was like, oh, okay. I was like, wait, that was pretty offer. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a powerful card for sure.
Cool. I don't see anything else here in this top row. Maybe
Calling the Week is
go.
more turbo slanted card, so like that could probably be on the chopping block.
Yeah, I agree.
But it also just like, I don't know, it's like really close to just making enough mana for Nas on its own. So like, let's keep it around for now.
That's where it's tough. Psych Rift. What are your thoughts on this card? Because I added it because again, I think I see the card a little bit differently because just my meta how it is, but I also see like it's a 2 mana bounce spell, and also it can only bounce things you don't control, which sometimes it's the same with Into the Floodmaw. Sometimes like you can't bounce your own stuff, kind of stinks.
So Psych Rift and Floodmaw, that's the A and B. Like there are 2 sides of the same coin, right? They work in the same manner, but for me, Psych Rift is just objectively Into the Floodmaw with upside.
Okay. Yeah.
We have the ability to make a lot of mana in this deck. And if we need to overload a rift to like get past stacks pieces or things like that, it happens all the time. Because sometimes if like we have a local player that plays time, and if we get under a rule of law, I just need to count to 7.
Yeah.
Like I'll count to 7, Psych Rift, and then, hey, look, the window's open. I'll have all this mana. And yeah, I think it's good enough. And for that reason, we could probably cut Floodmaw.
Cool. It's a sideboard. Same here. Dark Ritual, Deflecting Swat, Demcon, E-Tutor, Fierce. Final Fortune, that's more of like it's more of like a turbo card, but it's also like, it's still just Final Fortune. I feel like it's...
Can't cut it.
You can't cut it, yeah.
No, you can't cut it. Because if you necro into Final Fortune, and then you have the perfectly sculpted necro pile, like, yeah. And also, sometimes you just interject and you're like, oh, it's not my turn, Final Fortune. I just all of a sudden drew what I needed off of Ristic to win the game. Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. An instant speed, 2 mana, extra turn spell. Definitely.
We don't read the part where it says that we die, but like we just hope we don't get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Intuition is great.
Intuition, Mental Misstep, Mind Break Trap.
Force of Negation is a potential cut. I think that like goes in and out. On the more turbo slanted lists, you don't necessarily run it because you're not like interacting with people on their turn. You're trying to like protect your own wins, and Force of Negation doesn't really help you do that. In our deck and like the way we're building this out, I think it's totally fine to keep it.
Cool. I think Misdirection could be like easily. I wouldn't say easily a cut necessarily, but I think it's like it's one of those cards that's like it's kind of on.
It's a bit lofty. It's like a 5 mana hit off of Nas as well.
Yeah, true. Yeah, and it's not like a 5 mana forcible hit. It's a 5 mana Misdirection.
Yeah, it's like it's a defensive force of will because if you're casting, let's say you're casting a Ristic Study, someone goes to Swan Song it, you can go, hey, I'm going to misdirect your Swan Song. Yeah. Like it's really good at protecting your own stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I would cut it in this list.
Mystical Tutor is great.
Yep.
Orange Chant, I like Orange Chant personally, but I also am kind of iffy on the card. I know you mentioned it when we were first adding cards in, because I think it is great. Like if you sit down in a pod and there's only one blue player, you're just like, oh, you just Orange Chant's that person. But also like it's just a 1 mana silence whoever. It could be defensive as well. Somebody's trying to storm off. You're like, no, actually you can't do that.
Yeah, or enchant in response to a cast of a Natali, or you can in Ral's upkeep or enchant them, and then they have to like either deal with it or take a turn off.
Yeah.
It's a really good spell with politics. You can say like, hey, I'm not trying to win on top of this orange chant. I'm just trying to stop this player from winning. Or in your turn, it's like, hey, I'm gonna orange chant the player with the most cards, or the player I think is going to interact with me the most.
Mm-hmm.
And then like it's good enough.
Yeah.
The other reason to run these 1 mana instants is that we have a Stormkiln artist. So like, if we have Stormkiln, they start paying for themselves.
Pact.
We'll keep it for now. Like Chant could easily go out, but like I think it's pretty good. Pact, dude, Pact is
awesome. So good. I was off it for a while because I was like, oh, but like 5 mana, and then one of my friends was like, but it's like it's free. It's actually just free.
Yeah, but it's also like you can cast it from Yard with Breach. And yeah.
Oh yeah, if you have Pact Negation and Yard with Breach,
but you can't do that with Force of Will.
Yeah.
Because Breach is an alternate casting cost, so you can't use a different alternate casting cost with Force of Will. You have to pay 5 mana to Force of Will from Yard.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. Path to Exile, I guess. Are you on both Path and Swords in a list like yours?
I would probably pick one as we're trying to start to slim stuff down. Like I think Swords is probably the better one. We can Swords our own like OBM army to get more health back if we're low on Nas, things like that. If we need to, it's a little bit more flexible. And Path is like never getting us land, so yeah, I would just cut Path.
Cool. Pyroblast REB, is this kind of the same as Swords and Path, or do you like both? Do you just think both are really good?
Yeah, I mean, in your list, like you could run both. I think REB is. Can you hit view details on the card? They're not.
Isn't
exactly
Red Elemental Blast better? Because like it's REB is better than Pyroblast. I don't remember exactly why, but I know it's like because of how
it depends on how you evaluate the cards. REB can not be swatted as easily. So if you're worried about it being swatted, it has like the swat target has to be another blue thing.
Okay, yeah.
But the interesting thing with Pyro is that it says counter it if it's blue, or destroy it if it's blue. So you can be swatted to anything, but you can also cast it on anything. So like if you have a Stormkiln and you need to fix a red mana, you can go cast REB targeting my Stormkiln. Everyone's like, what? And you're like, make a treasure. And then like it just resolves and then nothing happens.
Yeah.
Where you can't do that with REB. Cool. So I think the flexibility, I think Pyro, we can run Pyro.
Cool.
That's totally fine. And yeah, I would pick one. We don't need both.
Okay. We'll do Pyro then, just because we do have the Stormkiln.
And Reign of Filth we can cut, I think, as well.
Yeah.
It's fine, but yeah. Swan Song, Swords,
I think the rest are perfectly fine. Yeah,
it looks good to me.
Cool. We got about 5 cuts left to make. You said Grinding Station. You were kind of iffy on this one, and I could be convinced both ways.
Station's a turbo card. That's really what it comes down to. Yeah, and especially in like lower colors, we don't need Grinding Station in the deck. We have plenty of ways to be more consistent, and it is a card that technically works with Breach, but it is like a really bad Breach combo, so I would just cut it.
Yep. Oxbowl is fine. Sometimes I just look at artifact count, but it's like we have a huge treasure sub theme, so it's almost always going to be on. What are your thoughts on Wish Claw? I really like it because I see it as like a 2 mana investment, yes, but then on any other turn, it's like any other turn you're playing it, it's like a 1 mana. You can't counter it. You can't counter the tutor. I just go search.
Yeah, it's good because we're a big like black ritual deck, so we're able to cast it early, tutor for what we need, and then it could be whatever we need. I would not cut Wish Claw.
Cool. Back here, I would probably get rid of Mirror Maiden Necro.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I think while we can convert a Necropile, great. I think we're leaning less into that style of gameplay in this list in particular. If we were leaning to more the turbo side, I would definitely recommend Necro, and then we don't have to worry about necro piles and all that kind of stuff. We're just running the 4 most powerful enchantments in the colors, which are Mystic Remora, Ristic Study, Smothering Tithe, and Breach.
Yep.
And then we're down to 2 cuts.
I think lands are fine, enchantments are fine, artifacts are fine. I think on the instant side, I think it's great. I don't think there's any. Maybe the Culling the Week can probably see it gone.
Yeah. I'm thinking Culling the Week potentially. Also Chant, like Orum's Chant, like we talked about.
Yeah.
We can also look at our sorceries. I think Windfall is probably like a little lofty. We can cut Windfall. I'd probably cut those.
I think if we were to have like 4 options, it'd probably be like Mayhem Devil is a possible go, Windfall, Culling the Week, and Orum's Chant. Those are probably the 4, and we'd keep 2 of them.
I'd agree with that. Can you scroll up back into the creatures real quick?
Yeah.
Just for everyone's edification, like I don't run Bowmaster in my farm list, like because it's just turbo. I don't run Mayhem Devil, right? So we can talk about the list, and I'll send you my deck list after we're done building this one out, and we can run a comparison, and we can see like what the difference is between a turbo list and a just like a kind of more standard list. But the nuances in like the cards you cut in farm, to the average player, you're going to be like, why are you like waffling over these like 2-3 mana cards? And like, you'd be surprised at how much of a difference it makes, because the card quality is so high. And if your game strategy or your plan is like, if you want to play the stack, or if you want to play turbo or all these things, you don't want to draw like a Mayhem Devil in the middle of a stack war. Like you don't. But if your plan is like, hey, I need to take care of the cradle decks, I need to take care of the board and control the table because my meta is more creature focused, like Mayhem Devil and Bowmasters are fantastic. So you can make those meta calls and change those things.
Yeah.
I would cut Windfall. I think that's probably fine. We don't need 2 wheels. The other thing
I'd
is
probably
like,
then cut Culling the Week if that was the thing.
It's just such a powerful ritual.
I know, it's so good. It's so good. That's what I'm like, oh my god, like Cabal, Culling, and Dark Ritual. I don't know how. Like maybe Orum's Chant. Maybe
we have so many payoffs. I think maybe Flare of Duplication is actually the thing to cut here. Because like,
yeah, true.
Yeah, you can cast it, but like, you don't have a guaranteed red creature. We don't have like that DRC style
5,
package. Yeah.
6. We have 6 non-token red creatures. I think, that probably is the cut.
Yeah. And like, are you really going to sack a Stormkiln to flare?
No, never. Are you going to sack a Birdie's going to be the other side? Like, I don't know. Like,
I will say that
hardcast Simeon.
A friend of mine, Jace, spelled Jase, not JC. He is a very young prodigy of cEDH.
Yeah, I played against him at my second tournament.
Awesome.
Yeah,
he's
came
fantastic.
all the way out to Houston. Yeah.
He'd be like, no, dude, that's cope. You can't cut flare with Stormcone, because if anyone casts a flare, you just flare the flare, and then flare the flare, and then flare the flare, and you make infinite treasures. And I was like, yeah, that is kind of a broken interaction. And then every once in a while, he'll message me like, dude, I did it again. I made infinite treasures. So yeah, that is something you could do. But I think for now, like, we have all these cards in our sideboard, right? Like, we can always revisit it. Like, you can put the deck together, you can play it, you can say like, okay, these things are working for me, they're not, etc. You can change it.
Yeah, I think like Mayhem Devil and OBM are definitely like meta calls for where I'm at. There's a lot of Thrasios in Houston. And so I think these cards are pretty decent. I definitely could see a spot for Flare of Duplication making it in. Maybe I would get that out with like Orum's Chant. Like maybe. I think we've kind of talked ourselves. I don't think Culling the Week is ever a cut.
I mean, it's like a reasonable cut, right? Like it's okay. I can see the argument for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we probably don't want to cut it. Like, we'll have a creature, and sometimes it feels bad, but other times you're like, oh, creature, sack to Taru into Culling the Week, and I've already got a mana. Here's a Naz, and like, do you care about Taru anymore at that point? Like,
really? No, you're adding on it. That's why, the upside to Culling Week typically is just add Naz, or like a Beseech, like a 1-mana Beseech the Mirror. It's pretty good.
So out of our conversation we've had, I know we've been talking for a while.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the deck, like the list where it stands? Like, are you seeing kind of like the process of like putting this together and how we think about things from like I hate to say professional, but like a professional level?
Yeah. No, I definitely see it. When I actually made my first like rendition of just like seeing what Tymna Crom could possibly be.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only difference is like the order of which we approach it.
Okay.
Like how we did it here is we kind of went through the sideboard and we just kind of started picking out cards, which I
Yeah.
think is perfectly fine. How I usually do it is I usually go like, I think mana first. I think that is correct all the time. It's just mana. But when I think about mana, I also think about like Professional Facebreaker, Ragavan, Simian Spirit Guide, Stormkill. Like when I made my mana base for it, I usually go like, how can I produce as much mana as possible? That's why like these cards were first included. So they're still included. It's just the order in which I go about doing it. Because then I add the win cons, and then I add how do you back up the win cons with like tutors, and then
Right.
interaction to boot, and like some advantage engines and stuff like that. So I think the list that I first made is very similar to this, but I think as I've grown as a player, it's become a lot different. I really do like the process we go through. And I think for Blue Farm, I wouldn't say the deck builds itself, but I think it's definitely like there's just so many cards that can go in it that it's more of like which ones are you not including and why versus what cards are you including and why.
Yeah, you
It's
have
literally
to have
just
a
like,
reason to not include certain cards, and
yes,
building the list upwards is not the hard part, because
yeah,
I guarantee I could approach a casual player on the street and be like, "Hey, put some cards in this deck," and they'll be like 70% right, and they'll be like, "Oh, I have 130 cards." I'm like, "Okay, now cut it down," and like they couldn't cut it down. So cutting it down is the hard part in this deck. I spoke about Jason earlier. He has a no fewer than like 160 card sideboard that are all real cards for farm, where he will rotate cards in and out just to test, or based on like he knows the tournament meta for like the tournament we're attending, he will
yeah,
make changes specifically for that meta. And yeah, it's just an interesting deck to especially learn and keep an eye on, and it's just really like it is the defining deck of the format right now.
100%.
But there's nothing broken about it other than it's just generically good.
Yeah, I think it's one of the big reasons. Well, I've talked to my friends a lot in my local meta, and I'm like, I'm kind of thinking about Blue Farm. I kind of want to play it, and they all just moan and groan. They're like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And I'm like, realistically, there's like one, maybe two Blue Farm players in Houston. There's not a lot.
Yeah.
Like, there's obviously a lot more that do play it.
I think
But
they're
it's
just
like,
tired
well,
of hearing those two words together.
yeah, they hate the deck, and some of them are like, oh my god, oh, I'm just gonna play a super easy deck, and this deck's hard, and it's so weird. Like some people say the deck's really, really easy, and it's like brain dead. There's other people that say it's the hardest deck in the format, and so I'm just like, I don't really know. I think I just want to play the deck and see for myself, because maybe I played the deck and I go 0-20 in my first 20 games. Like maybe it is really difficult, but
the deck has a high floor.
mm-hmm.
It's really easy to perform well because you're like playing powerful cards.
Yeah.
But more experienced farm players will watch less experienced farm players and be like, you're not playing this optimally. Like, like you're doing well because you're playing good cards, but you're standing on the cards instead of like standing on your player skill.
Yeah. Yeah. Seeing when I did play against Jace and just seeing him play, I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I can't do anything to him. He literally felt untouchable the whole time. I'm like, bro, this kid's like 18 years old. I teach like band, and like it's a bunch of high schoolers, and like there's some kids that are like the same age as him, and there's nothing. And I just talked to that guy. I'm like, you're playing Blue Farm at this level, and you're beating everyone else. Like, dude,
he's one of the top players in the world. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, but
do you have your list handy? Do you have your old list handy? If you click on more and then hit compare, it'll let you search for your old list. If you click on your decks on the right,
I think I called it T.
So this is how different it is than your previous list.
Yeah. So this one's running a bit more lands. It's got a bit more talisman stuff in there. I think this one is just like torn between doing the mid-range grind versus doing the turbo stuff. Like it doesn't have.
But
I don't know.
look at the power cards we're running. We're running Jessica's Will, Meanbat, Yogg's Will, like cards that are like, okay, you need to answer this, and like Necro is one of them, sure, but I think there's a little bit more of a defined vision of where we're at in this list.
Yeah.
We're back on the same list, the one we just built. And then I'm going to run a comparison. So these are the changes. I'm not on the full turbo list that I was on before.
Okay.
I was on things like Rog Rack in the 99.
Oh,
and
wow.
I cut Mindbreak Trap. I wasn't on Trap. I'm not on Ranger Captain right now still.
Okay.
Like I wasn't on then. And more turbo slanted cards like Rain of Filth and Necro. I'm on 2 wheels right now. Gitaxian Probe, just because it's a free piece of card draw. It triggers Lotho, triggers Stormkiln for free. And like that feels really good. So, for those reasons, I'm on those things. I do think Wooded Foothills is an objectively bad fetch. We should probably switch that for something like Watery Grave.
Yeah. I'm down for that. Let me do that in the list.
Because like just like a solo red fetch is like really, really bad.
I definitely can agree, especially on the list we're on, where we're not super red-pilled.
Right.
On it.
Red-pilled. Politics. What did politics have to do with this?
As soon as I said red-pilled, I was like, oh no.
No.
What did I just do?
Someone will comment if they get this far in the video. They'll be like, what are these guys talking about?
We've lost the plot.
Yeah. And the other thing was I was on Jessica's Will. I will be on Jessica's Will again. And like DRC, I was on the full like red package. So as far as like turbo goes, because like red, you have that mana efficiency, you have got those big rituals. So like I was very like red, black, Rakdos, turbo farm.
Yeah.
And cutting the 3 and 4 pieces like Ranger Captain, Mindbreak Trap, things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah,
it's weird how like you're on the turbo variant versus like the mid-range variant and stuff like that, but it's like there's only 6 cards different. And it's still like the decks probably play a little bit different from each other. Like
we're at 5 now. And obviously like I'm adding my own color and my own influence to this deck list.
Yeah.
Where another farm player, let's say someone like Matt Hayes, if you've ever met him, but he's a guy who lives in Hawaii and he travels all around for work, and he tries to line up his work travel with tournaments.
Oh, nice.
But he plays a farm list that he calls Cope Farm, where he's not playing Necro. He's playing the very slow mid-range grind. He's running like Copy Enchantment, Mirror Maid.
Nice.
He's running the Mayhem Devil and like all this stuff, and he just like plays like mid-range control. And he would watch this video and be like, nah, like this is still turbo. Like this is still,
Yeah. And it still probably is. I think honestly, one of the only things that kind of makes it not is that we're not on Necro.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like the Mayhem Devil OBM, like the small differences that we do have is just like where we're slightly leaning towards.
Right.
I mean, maybe Jessica's will kind of pulls it more into the turbo direction, but like, yeah, I mean,
we could cut if you wanted to like lean more into the mid range. We can cut things like Culling the Weak, like we said. We can cut potentially Chain of Vapor because it's not really a storm deck. It is possible to cut Burgi. I wouldn't recommend it. Definitely cut Orm's Chant. Things that are like these hyper mana efficient spells. We can cut them. Like it's not that big of a deal. I would say Chain is really hard to cut though. It still just has like such a positive interaction with Stormkiln. But I think it's interesting you identified cards like Beseech and you're like, oh wow, this card is like really good. And yeah, it is. Like Beseech wasn't in farm for the longest time.
Yeah.
Yogg's Will, same thing. But like these are cuttable, and like other players are gonna watch this and go, how do you cut like Yawgmoth's Will from a deck? And it's like because there's 140 sideboard cards in this deck that are also
even
good.
in this, we still got 200 in the sideboard. It's like there's so many.
The last thing I'll kind of tie off this video with is if you ever want to look at the deck and go, all right, let's start looking at the stats. I know that you probably do this a lot with your casual decks. You can look at the curve, and start looking at like where's my curve situated. In this list, we kind of want to be floating between that 0 and 3 range. And the 3 is like our power cards. Our 3 mana cards need to do something for our game plan. Anything that's 1 or 2 should be a tutor. 0 should be our mana rocks and lands, obviously. And then 4, they really have to do something. And it's like literally Smothering Tithe and Stormkiln. Like those cards are incredibly powerful, but they, 4 is a lot. 4 is asking for a lot.
Yeah, true.
The other thing we look at is our mana value. 136 is totally reasonable, if not like maybe a little bit high for an Adnaz deck. But one thing to consider is that we don't need to Naz very deep necessarily. We just need to hit additional mana and tutors off the Naz. So if the deck is built correctly, we don't have to necessarily go like really, really hard on our ad Naz to convert a win. And then looking at the color distribution here, we don't have a lot of blue pitch spells, so it doesn't really matter to us as much. White is basically our splash color because we've got stuff like Esper Sentinel and our Abolisher effects and stuff like that, but that's about it. And then this is where you start practicing. You start dealing yourself hands and going like, oh, do I keep this? Like I've got Mox Opal, I've got turn 2 Taru, could develop into an Adnaz. I've got like some light protection here.
Yeah.
You can also do like, right on this hand, you can do Tundra, cast Opal, counter Opal, then play Cavern, play Taru, then turn 3 Naz. That's a pretty reasonable plan.
Yeah.
And that's not counting the 2 cards we draw for, like Sentinel and Plateau. But this is where you start putting in work. Once you've got your list, then you start going, okay, how do I play out the deck? What does my gold fishing look like? And then you start taking it to start to see.
Yeah. Yeah. So how I guess how would you approach like this list is looking to, is it basically, I mean, because in some other decks it's like, okay, I'm looking for hands that are able to get me Gaia's Cradle in a reasonable amount of turns, or look for hands that's able to dump a bunch of mana turn 1 and 2 to start converting that into cards turn 3 and 4 and 5. Is this basically just like I'm mulliganing for some sort of advantage engine, or I'm mulliganing for a certain game plan, or I'm like, how do you approach which hands are keepable and which hands are not keepable?
That's the hard part with this deck, because you're going to be faced with a lot of jump scares in hands where like, dang, I know there's something here, but like, what does this mean? And like, this is a good example of this hand where like, okay, I can play Ragavan. I've got mana for Culling the Weak. I've got Silence where I can stop somebody. Mockingbird, I can, I can copy something if I need to, but like it doesn't help with Ragavan. And then I can also just gamble for like a Naz, and like if that pays off, then it's great. And if it doesn't, then like, okay, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to cEDH, as a new player or just a player that's like trying to find their way through the format, it all comes down to drawing cards and making mana. And if you can do those 2 things and you can do both of them, that's where you will start to see the wins come. So in this hand, like let's say we had to keep this hand for some reason, we've got ways to make mana. We can cast Timna and use that as our card draw. So we've got a slow trickle of mana, slow trickle of card draw. That's probably like good enough in some games.
Yeah.
But in higher level games, like if I'm sitting with Jason in the pod, like I'm shipping this hand like immediately. Like this is not good enough. It's not going to be like mulliganing to the level of where they're playing at, right? So if I'm trying to teach someone cEDH, I might say like, okay, you can keep this hand and it does powerful things. This hand might even do more powerful things than what other decks can do on their average mulligan, right?
Yeah.
But that's where the floor of farm is like very high versus what is possible. Because the card quality is so high, this is our second 7. Let's go to 6. So let's see. This is all mana, no card draw.
Yeah.
Let's go to 5. Here's card draw and mana and tutor and more mana. Like I'd keep this on 5.
Yeah, I would too.
Right. So you pitch like
Spirit Guide Tutor, or maybe not Spirit Guide because Jessica.
That's where the decision tree gets hard.
Yeah.
Right. Because we have a weird land setup. So if we don't have a white, we can't cast Sentinel. If we don't have a black from an opponent, we can't cast DT.
Yeah.
So that's where this is
for sure. Cast Mystical Tutor, Simeon, and Jessica. Okay, yeah,
right. But that's where you might want to go. Like, okay, is Exotic Orchard doing what we need? Because like, if we're turn 1, what are we doing on turn 1?
Yeah,
like sorry, we're seat 1.
Oh yeah, true.
What's our play on seat 1?
Volcanic Island and Mystical Tutor.
Sure.
Into like a Rite of Flame, and then turn 2 Rite of Flame, Simeon, Jessica.
Right, like
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like the waters get muddy, like right, because you have to start considering other things. Like so, Exotic Orchard might be a cut. Like you might cut Exotic Orchard for a different shock land, or like for a Tarnished Citadel, where like that's a painful land, but it's guaranteed to produce you color. And like
true.
You're taking 3, but it doesn't matter because now you have a Sentinel online.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So and then the other option is like, okay, let's go down to 4. Well, this is turn 2 Ristic on 4, right?
Yeah.
So you got land, pedal, Ristic. Yep. Snap keep.
Yeah.
But that's what's capable in this deck. Like, that's what this deck is capable of.
Yeah, you're able to just mulligan a little bit more aggressively than some other decks because you have so many powerful cards. Yeah. That's cool.
That's why this deck is fun. This deck is incredible because it will let you stretch your legs as a player. The deck will almost always certainly be better than you as a player. And every time I play the deck, I'm like, oh, I misplayed that. Like I could have done that differently, or I could have optimized slightly better. I could have fetched for a different land.
Yeah.
And again, to like a casual player or someone that doesn't play the format as much, you're like, why do these things matter? It's because like if you're pursuing perfection and you're trying to win the most amount of tournament games you can, part of that is learning the best strategies in the format. And this is one of them.
This is definitely a list that I'm interested in. Maybe I make a couple changes, or maybe like when I'm, if I'm proxying out some of this stuff or anything like that, maybe I add maybe a 10 card package of a sideboard that I can experiment with.
I would play the list as it is right now. It's a very, very competent list. And what you do then is cut down this sideboard, move it all to the considering, and then pull some stuff into your sideboard that you're like, maybe I'll test this, or I've seen other farm lists run it. Like we're talking about Archivist and stuff like that. Maybe those cards play better for you than they do for me. But that's a really good plan. It is like proxy out the 100 cards, bump it up to 115, 120, whatever. Some other stuff that you're like, I'll throw on some staples from my other deck or whatever. But I highly recommend, like, maybe don't start on Blue Farm if you're new to cEDH, but once you're entrenched in the format and you're like, okay, I need to step up my win rate.
Yeah.
Learn the deck because it'll start teaching you other decks too. Yeah. Cool, man.
Yeah, this has been fun.
It was definitely fun. And we'll have to collaborate some more and work on some. I know you said you want to do some gameplay and stuff. And like, we're definitely down for that. We've got a lot of people in our group that would definitely be happy to have you. And especially if you're showing up to like tournaments local to you and like we know people at your tournaments, like, yeah, we can definitely work something out for sure.
Yeah, that'd be sick. Cool.
All right, man. If you're still watching this, you can find the deck list that we worked on in the description of this video. If you have questions about farm, you can always reach out to either me or Jason or anyone from the Critical EDH team. We all play the deck. It's a fun deck. It's definitely worth knowing. And then if you want coaching, or if you like the conversations like this, we have other coaching sessions on our YouTube channel. You can find those there. Also, you can go to pregame, and if you don't like my coaching style for whatever reason, you can go find another coach. This is a website we built to help you find a cEDH coach. And like, here's Jason. He specializes in TK and he is a fantastic coach. He will knowledge dump on you like nothing else, and you'll be like, okay, I gotta go watch the recording of that video that we just did, because like maybe I missed a few things. But cEDH coaching is a very real thing, and a lot of sessions look like what we just did here, even though we were just like kind of building a deck and just chopping it up and talking about it. But yeah, if you want to play in tournaments, that's the thing to do. Play the best decks, try to learn it, and then all the wins and all that stuff, all the fun comes after.
Oh yeah.
All right. Do you mind just like shouting out your channel and all the stuff?
Yeah. If you guys want to find me anywhere, it's basically just Deck Driver MTG at YouTube. I have an Instagram, but like I don't ever post. And also all that stuff was just old posts. But yeah, just Deck Driver MTG on YouTube, and then that's where most of my links are as well. So do a lot of more casual side things for Commander, but really starting to take a step, especially in my channel, of just doing more cEDH type content. I have very like normal videos. Honestly though, look at this. First cEDH tournament, that's one of my most popular videos the past couple weeks. So people seem to like it. So yeah, but if you just want any sort of Commander content at all, you can find me at Deck Driver MTG. So
yeah, your channel is awesome. As you can see, I've been watching these videos, especially the cEDH ones. I was like, dang, it's just like, I love hearing people's stories of how they get into the format. And then also like, I was just so excited to try to impress upon you, like, I want you to keep playing the format. Like, I want you to keep having fun and like support your growth into the format. Like, I love doing that. And it's something we like doing as a channel too. So definitely looking for more of that content, and hopefully we can keep collaborating and hang out for sure.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, I think I play CDH like 3 times a week.
Oh, that's
nowadays.
awesome.
Like later today, I'm going to be playing, so it'll be fun.
Do you play like at LGS or online? Or?
Yeah, I play at LGS on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, and then also sometimes Saturdays.
Wow.
So playing a lot, and then basically every time we go, we're just playing cEDH. So it's great.
Awesome.
So yeah,
Sounds good. Well, hopefully you can take some of the strategies for brewing and stuff that we did into your other decks. And like I know you want to play Tevis Strassius. You can do the same thing with the staples list. You can just copy it, import it, and you'll see all the green stuff, and all the red and white will just be out. So.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Well, cool.
Sounds good. Thanks so much for being on. This was a blast, and look for more content like this in the future.
Thanks for having me.